Rock star. As fate would have it, the last time I ever had the dream was early in the morning on Friday, April 4th. That was the day of the concert. So it might be nice to have slept well. But by the time I had showered the dream away and headed downstairs for breakfast, I was so nervously hyper that there was no way to a lack of sleep was going to slow me down. I would just have to crash on Saturday. My mom and Jeffrey were down in Philadelphia, but they were due to get back in the time for my concert. My dad and I had never spoken again about the choice not to attend the concert, but I know my mom had at least one discussion about it. The kind of discussion that rattles your teeth when you can't help overhearing no matter how loud you crank your Discman. So that morning, when the issue was on both of our minds, he and I didn't have a single safe word to say to each other. It was weird being so nervous and so quiet at the same time, but as soon as I got to school, the quiet part became a memory. Renee assaulted me in homeroom with a copy of the program in her hand. It was thicker than any school program I'd ever seen, with a beautiful glossy cover shot of the band on stage. When you opened the program, there was Jeffrey, his kindergarten photo all blown up nearly full page size, and beneath it, there was a statement in neat black calligraphy. All proceeds from tonight's concert will benefit the Jeffrey Alper Medical Trust. Simply unbelievable. Thanks to the amazing brains of two girls, Jeffrey had gone from being a regular little kid to being a medical trust. I had to admit, despite the strangeness of the whole thing, Renee and Annette had done an incredible job with the whole project. When the homeroom bell rang, Annette came rushing in to give me the latest totals on the box office receipts and the profits from the program ads. As soon as she and Renee were standing together, I noticed that they had both gotten really short haircuts. But you know me by now. I just chalked it up to coincidence. Thanked them for all their hard work, answered a few questions about Jeffrey, and went to class. That day, Miss Palma, 3 tickets and a gigantic basket of cookies for the bake sale, was showing a movie based on the last book we had read. So, of course, I spaced out completely. I couldn't even tell you what I thought about, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't Homer's use of foreshadowing in the Odyssey. Mostly, I think I practiced playing the Old City songs in my head. Somehow, between Miss Palma saying, "Please take note of the dramatic irony in this scene," and my brain saying, "Bit bop, dip dip, doo wop," I got through the class. The whole day was like that, but eventually, even a Friday at middle school has to come to an end. The last bell rang, and I started to head out for the bus. Then the intercom in Mr. Watrous' room buzzed, and I got called to the office. Now that will put a lump in your throat, right? On the way there, I altered between running so I could find out the news fast and trudging so I wouldn't have to know yet. Either way, my mind never slowed for a second. Oh, geez. Grandma fell and broke her hip. Oh, God, Dad is here to kidnap me so I can't be at the concert. He'll probably set me up in slide rule and a pile of tax returns in some cheesy motel by the interstate. All he has to do is hold me for about 6 hours and then it'll be over. My hopes and dreams, my big conga stolo, ruined. Plus, I hate math. And while these surface thoughts were providing some distraction, I knew that the other 9/10 of this mental iceberg was the deadly part was hidden below. It was all about Jeffrey. When I got there, my mom and brother were standing by the chairs where the bad kids sit while they're waiting to get reamed out by the principal. My mom was chatting calmly with one of the secretaries, while the other was giving Jeffrey chocolates from a big jar on her desk. Naturally, I had been going to that school for 3 years without even being offered candy from the lady's desk, but whatever. Jeffrey spotted me right away. Steven, guess what? Today is your concert. Yeah, buddy, I know. What's going on? Are you all right? Was your blood work okay? I don't know. I'm only 5. There's a clown in my hospital room today, and he was pretty cool. He painted my face so I could be Spider-Man. I wanted green Power Ranger, but the clown said that he didn't have enough green face paint. Isn't that weird? He he wasn't such a prepared clown, I don't think. I need some facts, and I need them pronto. Mom? Don't interrupt, Stephen. Mom, is everything okay? Sure. Then why are you here? Why'd you page me and give me a heart attack? We're on our way home, and I thought you might like to spend some time with your family on your big day. So we picked you up. Don't be so dramatic. I'm not being dramatic, Mom. I was worried. Well, worry no more. Your mother is on the scene. Everything is under control. Yeah, things have been completely out of hand before she stepped in to rescue me heroically from my long, painful bus ride with Annette and Renee. Thanks for the thought, Mom, but I'm entitled to my complimentary bus ride home at taxpayer expense. I hate to be disappoint the taxpayers, so I'll just be on my way. Stephen, wait, I want to see you. I missed you. They did the spinal tap. It was scary. So, sigh. So long, my girls. Hello, my boy. On my way home, my mother briefed me about Jeffrey's treatment. His counts still don't look good, and Dr. Moses had almost kept him in the hospital for another few days. But when my mother told the doctor about the big concert, he had agreed to discharge Jeffrey with another specific warning to rush to the ER if anything didn't seem right. I was grateful to my mom for going to bat about this. With my dad refusing to attend, my 15 minutes of fame would have been pretty lonely without her and Jeffrey. I mean, I would still have known like half the audience, but my grandparents weren't going to miss this for anything. But still, it was nice to know that they have a couple of relatives there who didn't need to chug a can of Geritol to stay awake for the whole performance. For his part, Jeffrey did seem kind of wiped out. On the other hand, he was also definitely all psyched up to see me play. My mom had explained to him that the concert was going to raise money for his treatment and that he should thank people for coming, that he should behave himself like a gentleman, blah, blah, blah. But he hadn't been particularly interested in any of that. His big goal for the evening was to shout out, "Yay, Stephen, that's my brother," every time I hit a drum. Back at the house, we still had about an hour and a half to kill before I was supposed to be at the high school. I was a madman. I paced back and forth in the room, laying out, refolding, and double-checking my clothes, all city jazz band t-shirt and black jeans, as if there was some way to screw up putting on a uniform. Then I stalked downstairs to the kitchen and laid out 3 different snack cakes, agonizing over which would provide the best musical energy. The chocolate-covered, chocolate-filled chocolate donut provides you with sugar and caffeine, yet the vanilla snack cake is even sweeter for that quick burst of power. And then the classic apple pie. It's individually wrapped in wax paper for freshness and probably provides traces of at least one vitamin. In the end, my mother walked in and said, "Eat a yogurt," as if that were a food. And I know the band would be having a traditional post-concert pizza delivered to the rehearsal room. But honestly, I was supposed to survive on nothing but bacteria-laden milk solids for the next several hours. A compromise was reached, and I'm pleased to report that vanilla yogurt makes quite an edible topping for apple pie. I bounced around the house, trying not to wake Jeffrey, who had dozed off in the living room couch. I read Modern Drummer magazine for 5-minute stretches in between. I paced some more. Occasionally, I peeked out the front window as in a hope that my father had changed his mind and was very pleasing, and at that moment was at that very moment was pulling up to the house. But who was I kidding? The time crawled by like a tortoise and the arthritis. But finally, the kitchen clock said 5:17. It was time to roll out. I shouted for my mom, woke Jeffrey up, ran upstairs, changed into my concert clothes, put on my shoes, and was standing in the door and by the garage by 5:19, chanting, "Let's go, come on." Feel free to try that at home, by the way. Mom loves it. I practically hurled Jeffrey into his booster seat and dove headlong into the car right after him. I was in the mood to peel out, burn rubber, lay pedal to the metal. I wanted Mom to skid her way to the concert, like maybe she could get pulled over for speeding, and my mom could tell the officer, "But sir, do you know who's in the back seat? That's Stephen Elper, the second drummer for the All City Jazz Band, and his concert starts in less than an hour." And the cop could dash back into his car, call headquarters, and get us a motorcycle escort to the high school. Or my mom could just put there as usual, stating stately 31 miles an hour, while Jeffrey and I bounced and chattered in the back seat like two bald monkeys high on sugar. Either way, I suppose we wound up at the school. Jeffrey insisted on coming into the band room, which was his right since the concert was for him. When we entered, I almost had a heart attack. Every single member of the band was wearing a matching red baseball cap. Did I miss a memo or something? Had I screwed up my uniform after all? My mother looked at me and looked at my mom. Jeffrey ran around the room oblivious. Then somebody spoke. It was Biff, of all people.